Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something really exciting. We are completely demystifying the process of establishing a branch office in Bangladesh. Look, it's a booming economy, right? It's a massive consumer market. But let's be real, navigating that regulatory landscape, it can feel incredibly daunting. And that is exactly why we're here. We're going to break down all those complexities into super clear, actionable steps. So I've got to ask you right off the bat, is your parent company truly ready to conquer this competitive landscape? The opportunities in Bangladesh are absolutely vast, but success, well, that requires precision, meticulous documentation, and a really clear understanding of the local regulatory framework. So let's walk through the whole shebang, from your initial setup choices all the way to the realities of daily operations. Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. First, the entry strategy. Then we'll tackle the document gauntlet. Third is the beta countdown. Fourth, we'll look at post-approval reality. And finally, number 5, staying compliant. Let's dive in. Section 1, the entry strategy. Choosing your vehicle and meeting the gatekeeper. Right out of the gate, you face a major strategic choice. Are you going with a branch office or a subsidiary? Now, a branch office is basically an extension of your foreign company. It's not a separate legal entity. It gives you much faster market entry and allows the parent company to keep direct, absolute operational control. It really is the ultimate vehicle if you're a service-focused business, like an engineering firm, a software company, or a consultancy. But actually, if you're planning on doing heavy manufacturing, import substitution, or really large-scale local trading, you're going to need to pivot to a wholly foreign-owned subsidiary. But assuming a branch office fits your goals, let's go meet the gatekeeper. And here is the absolutely crucial point. Operating without BETA's prior approval is a legal impossibility. Zero chance. BETA stands for the Bangladesh Investment Development Authority. They are the principal government agency regulating foreign investment, making them your mandatory first stop. Look, without their approval through their one-stop service system, you literally cannot legally operate. You can't get work permits for your expats, you can't properly activate a bank account, and your tax registrations, they'll just hit a brick wall. BETA is, without a doubt, the most important player in your expansion. Moving on to Section 2, the document gauntlet, surviving the bureaucratic authentication process. Okay, let's walk through these essential authentication steps, because this part is huge. You're going to need a stack of documents: your certificate of incorporation, memorandum and articles of association, audited financials, and a really detailed board resolution. But just having them isn't enough. They absolutely must be authenticated. Step 1, you need authentication from the Bangladesh Embassy or High Commission in your country of origin. Step 2, verification by your origin country's Apex Chamber of Commerce. And Step 3, if your documents aren't in English, you're going to need notarized professional translations. I always like to say that in the world of international business, paper is heavier than steel, especially unauthenticated paper. Failing to do this properly is literally the single most common reason applications get delayed. Seriously, you have to avoid these common document mistakes at all costs. Missing documents, that's an obvious one. But beware of vague business plans or apparent branch activity mismatch. BIDEA evaluates your business justification really deeply, so the proposed activities for your Bangladesh branch have to logically align with what your parent company already does successfully back home. Oh, and you need to show sufficient financial evidence that the parent company can actually support this new branch. Avoid these expensive traps, guys, so your application doesn't just languish in the bureaucracy. All right, Section 3, the BIDEA countdown, a week-by-week breakdown of the approval journey. So, a typical BETA countdown is going to take you about 6 to 12 weeks. Getting the documents prepared back home, that usually takes 2 to 6 weeks. The actual online submission is quick, just a few days. Then BETA officials and an interministerial committee review it, taking another 2 to 4 weeks. But take a look at that fourth block right there, security clearance. This alone takes 2 to 8 weeks, and it's a massive hurdle where relevant government agencies are conducting deep background verifications. Breaking this whole process down into manageable weekly phases is so helpful because it helps your executive team set realistic expectations, rather than, asking you for daily updates. So, what does all this strategic waiting actually buy you? Typically, 3 years. That's the standard validity period being a grants for a branch office approval, though I should mention it can vary based on your specific project duration. But the key takeaway here is that this approval is not indefinite. You're going to require a highly proactive renewal strategy, and you'll need to initiate that process several months before expiry to prevent any disastrous business disruptions down the line. Which brings us to Section 4, post-approval reality, moving from paper to actual operations. Okay, we need to bust a really common executive myth right now. Many investors mistakenly believe that receiving BEAT permission means they can immediately start operations. In reality, BEAT approval is only the beginning. Don't get me wrong, getting that piece of paper is incredibly exciting, but it's really just your ticket to enter the next vital layer of local compliance. You can't just flip the open sign and start billing clients quite yet. Let me guide you through the strictly ordered post-approval compliance list. First things first, you open a local bank account with an authorized commercial bank. Second, and please pay close attention to this one, execute your inward remittance. The parent company must send operational funds through official banking channels. Bangladesh Bank closely monitors this vital second step, so the source of those funds has to be impeccably documented. Third, you get your tax identification number, or TIN, from the National Board of Revenue. Fourth, complete your VAT registration if that's applicable to your services. And finally, fifth, secure your municipal trade license from the local city corporation. It's only after you nail these steps that you can really start leasing office space and hiring local employees. Moving to our final stretch, Section 5, staying compliant. Long-term obligations to keep your doors open. All right, let's talk about your mandatory annual reporting requirements. You'll need to produce annual audited financial statements, file your income tax returns on time, submit regular VAT returns, handle the yearly renewals for your trade license and your expat work permits, and of course, manage ongoing Bangladesh Bank reporting for certain foreign exchange transactions. The absolutely crucial point here is that compliance is a continuous, living corporate obligation. It's not just some one-time setup task that you can just check off and forget about. Failing to comply here can lead to some really severe penalties. Wow, okay, we have covered a massive amount of ground today in this explainer, from choosing your vehicle to mastering the document gauntlet, all the way to managing your ongoing compliance. A well-planned entry strategy truly is your foundation for long-term success in Bangladesh. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to spark a review with your own corporate team. Is your documentation ready to pass the test? Start preparing now, and the vibrant, booming opportunities of the Bangladesh market will be well within your reach.